Friends, let's take a moment together. Let's settle our hearts and think about something foundational, a truth we can really lean on when life gets difficult.
Hmm.
It's this core idea captured so well in the Psalms. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Psalm 46, verse 1.
That verse holds so much weight, doesn't it? It's not just, nice poetry. It speaks to a deep reality.
Exactly. It's a promise.
Mm.
Promise for every single one of us trying to navigate, well, everything life throws our way.
And life certainly does throw things, right? We all encounter these
Hmm.
storms. They look different for everyone.
They really do.
It could be grief, that deep ache after losing someone. Or maybe it's anxiety, that constant hum of worry.
Or financial struggles, the pressure of
Yes.
making ends meet. Broken relationships, too. The pain there can be immense.
These aren't abstract concepts. They're real struggles, universal experiences.
So when we talk about God being our refuge,
Yeah.
what are we actually saying when we're right in the middle of one of those storms?
Well, it's more than just a nice thought, isn't it? It's about God's active presence, not some distant observer.
Right, not detached.
No, actively involved, like a protector, someone offering real shelter, available right when we need it. Strength, too. Not just shelter, but the power to endure.
Okay, but here's something I think people grapple with. Trusting God, finding refuge.
Hmm,
It doesn't always mean that difficulty just disappears.
that's such a crucial point. It's probably one of the biggest misconceptions. The hardship might still be very real. The pain doesn't necessarily vanish overnight.
So what does change them if the external situation stays the same?
It's the inner experience. Something shifts inside. It's like finding your footing, a sense of being grounded, even when everything around you is shaking.
Grounded, steady, hopeful maybe.
Yes, exactly. A deep internal steadiness takes root when you anchor yourself in that trust.
Thinking about this,
Mm.
it makes me recall the stories that emerged from Indonesia after those terrible floods back in
That,
2021.
that was devastating. So much loss.
Unimaginable, really. Homes, livelihoods just gone. But amidst all that destruction, the reports, they spoke of this incredible sense of peace people felt.
Peace in the middle of that chaos.
It sounds contradictory, doesn't it? But that's what was reported. A peace that seemed to, well, defy the circumstances.
It really challenges our understanding of faith in crisis. I remember hearing about a local pastor there.
Yes.
His church, he opened it up, made it a shelter, a literal refuge for people who'd lost everything.
A tangible act of providing refuge.
Absolutely. And his words, they were quoted widely, weren't they? Something.
We have lost things, but not faith. God is still our refuge. I remember that quote. Powerful.
So powerful, it wasn't just words, it was lived out. A profound demonstration of trust right there in the rubble. What allows for that, do you think, that kind of resilience?
It has to come from a deep, unwavering belief, right?
Right.
And it reminds me, too, of another story from Louisiana. This was before 2025. A mother facing a really serious illness.
Mm-hmm. A personal storm, very different from a natural disaster.
Very different, yes. But she found that, alongside her medical treatment, her daily time in Scripture and prayer, it brought her a kind of peace, a strength, that even medication couldn't fully provide.
That's fascinating. It offers another angle on this idea of refuge.
She put it so well. She said something like, "The storm hasn't gone, but God is holding me through it."
Holding me through it, not removing it, but sustaining her within it.
Precisely. It wasn't about the illness disappearing, but about feeling carried, supported day by day. Her story actually became quite well known locally, a symbol of that kind of faith.
It really makes you think about the nature of that connection. What is it that provides such profound strength?
Well, looking at both situations, the community disaster in Indonesia, the personal health battle in Louisiana, they point to the same core truth, don't they?
Which is,
That God doesn't always step in and, calm the external storm. The floodwaters might rise, the illness might linger.
right, that's a reality we often face.
But, and this is the crucial part,
Mm-hmm.
what he does consistently offer is peace within the storm, an internal calm.
An inner peace that somehow transcends the outward chaos. That's the constant.
That seems to be the promise. It's like an internal stability, a foundation that holds firm, even when everything else is shifting.
It's not about escaping the hard times then. It's more about finding an anchor right in the middle of them.
Yes, an unshakable anchor.
Mhm.
So how do we access that? How do we tap into it when we're the ones feeling overwhelmed?
That's the practical question, isn't it?
It really is. And maybe for you listening right now, you're facing your own storm. It probably looks different from these examples, maybe completely unique to you.
Mm-hmm.
But that feeling of being tossed around, maybe feeling lost or afraid,
Mm,
that's real.
very real.
So the question for reflection, maybe the invitation for each of us right now, is this. What storm are you facing today?
Mm.
And how can you, perhaps even in this moment, choose to take refuge in God's strength? What might that first step, however small, look like for you?
It's a deeply personal question, but the underlying message weaving through all of this is one of hope, of resilience.
Definitely hope.
Finding refuge, finding strength in God. It's not just for when life is easy, it's precisely for when it's not. It's a constant support, always available.
Like that anchor we mentioned, reliable, even the roughest seas.
Exactly.
And this inner peace, this steadiness we've been exploring,
Yeah.
it's not meant to be a temporary fix, is it?
No, not at all. It's presented as something much deeper, more lasting. A resource, like a deep well of resilience inside us, accessible no matter what's swirling around externally.
So perhaps the thought to leave you with today is this. Take a moment. Consider how embracing this perspective, really seeing God as your refuge and strength, how might that shift the way you approach the challenges you face?
It's an invitation, really, an invitation to discover something profound, not just shelter from the storm, but a deep, abiding strength right there in the midst of it. What could that look like, lived out in your own life, starting today?